ever. We are going to get this show started here in a minute. We got the Bodacious Cowboy. We got Mark, the Joker Ridley in the house, and we are ready to start this Friday's Wins and Lessons.
Let's get this going.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
Good morning.
Hey, happy Friday, Lisa.
Morning, everybody.
You made it.
Friday, Lisa. Oh, look, Jeff, you even got a yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
I feel like I'm the only one that's taking Hawaiian Shirt Friday seriously.
I don't know.
You might be, but I like it.
No, I don't have out. I gotta wear my baseball cap the next time. I gotta wear my baseball cap the next time, man. Shit.
That's why Amazon.
So obviously Friday's wins and losses. Thanks for joining me again today, boys. I know Dan was unfortunately able to join us today, so we will.
I just got a message. He's going to try to jump on. Yeah.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Yeah, I don't know when, but he said he would.
Dan joining us. Happy Friday, Scott.
Hey, Scott. How are you, brother?
So how was your guys' week? How's the week this week?
Awesome week. But Jeff, JD, the Bodacious Cowboy, I'm gonna let you start. I'm gonna let you rip it.
Oh man.
You've been so energetic this week.
Oh, I have been. I mean, it was a fantastic week. Even with my clients went out last night to a ball game in Allentown, PA. Had a great time. You know, again, another opportunity to collaborate. What we all do, you got to jump on those opportunities when they come up. So that was a good win. A huge win this week for another opportunity. Just crazy stuff, like over 200 lanes, man, 800 loads monthly. I was working that last weekend on it. You know, you got to jump on it when the fire's hot, man. You know, you can't let those things pass. So you give up a weekend, so what? You know, there's many other weekends, man. You got to do what you got to do to win those things. Not to say I'm going to win it, but you got to be in it to win it. So that was a great win for me.
I love it.
Yeah, man. I mean, the lessons, there's just so many of them. It's like, I don't even know where to start on it. It's like every day I wake up, it's like a new lesson that's learned. You know, you start your day off, you start your day off, DJ, and things just come up and you don't realize it until after it happens. And you're like, wow, man, that was like rejuvenating, you know, or that was just mind blowing. It happened to me so many times this week. I'm sure that people out there that are watching this, it happened to them as well. I mean, you can't really pinpoint it because it's just every day is a lesson, man. In this industry, you just can't move forward without a lesson. So, I mean, I had some good wins, you know. I don't think I had any really thing bad, you know. I mean, it was a good week, you know. Good week.
I love that you said that in this industry, and I think in life, but in this industry especially, man. It's like, I think if you like never knowing what the next day is gonna hold for you, because you just know what tomorrow is gonna bring. So it's always a new adventure. So yeah, you nailed it, man.
Yeah, you gotta be in the moment. You have to think about today. Tomorrow's not promised, and yesterday's gone. So, I mean, every day you wake up, you know, you don't know what's going to be thrown at you. And you know something's going to happen because you work in the logistics industry. So, you know something's coming, but you can't really pinpoint when the shit's going to hit the fan, but it's going to hit, you know. And like I said, man, it's always a learning lesson in this every day. Yeah, Mark.
man.
You want me to
What about
jump
you,
in?
Mark?
Yeah,
How-
so that was
Go in.
that was too long of a pause, wasn't it? I mean, you can tell that we're not professionals. Although we're getting there.
I do have to ask Mark. Mark, what does your hat say? Does it say? Is it champion? Is it a Caddy Day? You're the Caddy Day champion. Is that what that says?
So every now and again, I'll throw in a little subtle comment of a 1980s movie, which nobody has picked up on the chat. So I'm going a little bit less subtle. So there you go, Caddyshack. That's it, Bushwood.
Hold on.
Yep, I did notice
that. One of my wins and my lessons all came kind of like, I guess, peaks and valleys yesterday. So I squeezed in 9 holes yesterday morning, and which was great. I love teeing off at 7, so you're back home for 9. Like, yeah, we don't play too far away. And I had a good round yesterday. I just played with my neighbour. Like, we try and get out as much as we can. We haven't done too much this year, so there's a lesson. Like, take time for people that are actually right on your doorstep.
Right.
So I only played 9. I finished. I think I was 5 over for the 9, and I missed 3 putts. And there's a continued lesson in I do like my golf, and I often kind of align how I conduct my business with how I sometimes play my golf, or at least my attitude, excuse me, towards my golf. And that is like, I missed 3 putts, and I got a bit angry with myself for it. But then I'm thinking, look, if I could get those every time, then we 3 wouldn't be having this conversation, because I'd be partying it up with Tiger Woods and John Daly. So I have to remember, like, I'm just a regular Joe, regular human being. And then also remind myself that, so I missed 3 easy putts, but there were at least 5 shots that, hit the tree and it bounced onto the green 2 inches from the cup. Sliced it into the lake, and it bounced 6 times because it just happened to be a spongy pond. Ordinarily it would have, so I think the lesson there for me is, whilst there might be some things that go wrong, it's easy to focus on those. Focus on the things that go right, and focus on the bit of luck that you get as well. So it's that for me is like an everyday kind of lesson.
Mark, that is such a great
you're going to speak.
I heard a video I was listening to. I heard somebody. I don't know if he was a ski instructor just talking about skiing, but he said the easiest way to hit a tree is to focus on the tree. He said skiers that are skiing through the trees are focusing on the openings, not the trees. And it's, that lesson. If we focus on the troubles, the problems, the valleys that we have, we're strictly focusing on the storm that we're facing. So we're not going to get out of it.
It's funny you say that. So my buddy was almost up against a tree yesterday, and he was going to play safe and play it out onto the fairway. Play laterally. And I'm like, dude, why are you doing that? He's like, because I'm in front of a bloody tree. I'm like, dude, trees, 90% air. Don't you're just focusing on like the tree. Again, focus on missing the tree. So it was a similar kind of thing. Like, just take the shot, like go for the green.
Absolutely.
He did. And
there's money involved. There's money involved in trees. You know that. So if you hit a tree and you call Woody and you par it out, everybody pays you $1.
Oh, I like that.
And everybody knows the trick. You pay the tree gods off before you start your round. You toss them a quarter, and usually you get a lucky bounce off of a tree at least. So.
Sandies, Woodies, man. Oh.
My neighbor put it straight in the water, so he didn't thank me for that piece of advice. But I said, like, if you don't try, then how are you going to know? So again, another lesson, right? If you, and we, you know what, and that being said, like, we see that a lot in our business. Like, if I was to randomly pick 500 CFOs to write to about how they're conducting their global payments, the stock response is, oh, we're happy with our bank. Like, how can you be? Like, what does that mean? Like, what, your bank manager wakes you up in the morning with a massage, walks your dog of a weekend, cleans your car? Like, what does happy mean? They're not happy with their bank. They haven't even given it a thought. What they've done is just immediately thought foreign exchange is massively confusing. Or when we start throwing out comments like, yeah, we'll probably save you about 10 grand a month on that one, they're like, got to be a little bit of skepticism in there. Yeah. And then, of course, there's the extreme, which we've seen, which is, holy crap, like, yeah, we can't use you. We're like, well, why not? They're like, well, because there's no way that we can admit to our shareholders that we've been overpaying for the last 20 years. So thank you and goodbye. Okay, look, I mean, we can only help those that want to get help. But yeah, so that I think yesterday was a bit of a win getting out. And I'm continuing my August kind of looking after me, looking after the family. And I'm going to extend that now from August 1st to Labor Day. So that doesn't mean to say that clients like feel that in any way. Case in point, I was getting a WhatsApp from one this morning at about 7:30, and at 7:32 they were getting a response from me. It just means that I'm not like hardcore marketing throughout the day. So the platform's still running. Somebody wants advice and guidance around, when to buy, where to move, when to move money, etc. Then we're there for that. But I'm grateful this week that last minute my wife and son said, look, we're just going to go to the beach. It's a hot day. We weren't planning it, but we're going to leave in 5 minutes. Can you come? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Like, check the calendar, nothing in, no meetings. Let's do it. So I spent a ton of time with the family nice. This month. It's been insane. I'm not saying that they've enjoyed it, but for me, I've really enjoyed spending some quality time with my son and my wife. So
gotta do that.
And then
gotta do that.
But Bodacious Cowboy, like my biggest win of the week, dude. You given me the phone call yesterday, so we'll tag team on a deal, which I think is great. Looking forward to that.
I love it.
Looking forward to that. So
yeah.
So that's me.
Like Lisa said, Mark, they think it's too good to be true, and I think that's probably maybe there's some strategy we could talk about around that, maybe making it a little more.
Well, it's funny you say that. So like, I feel like if I was to say to somebody, I could save you like 5 to 7% on what you pay. Like, I have to think about how, like, what does that mean to somebody? Like, oh, well, I pay my bank $30 to transfer money. So what, you're going to save me $5? Oh, wow, big deal. No, I'm going to save you 5 to 7% of the total value that you're paying to your vendor. Is you're overpaying, right? So what I'm thinking is, like, rather than coming in like that, because that's when people then think, too good to be true. But if I said, I could save you $500 on that transaction, they'd be like, $500? Yes, please. But the reality is, it's probably going to be closer to $10,000. But like, instead of leading with that,
under promise, over deliver is always the best way to do it. So,
that's it. And my partner and I, like, we've already said as well. Look, if we were to hook somebody with that $500 like saving, then we don't give them the $500. We go with the full 10 grand. Like we don't, like, we're not trying to. They would know, obviously, but we know. It's yeah, you've got to be true to yourselves, I think.
Well, it's just like anything else, Mark. I mean, what you're doing, and a good takeaway is that you're uncovering the hidden bank that they didn't know, it was there. It was there, but they didn't look in the right areas. It's just like what I do, in logistics. I look for the hidden bank. It's there, but you got to dig into it. So it's not that you're upsetting what they're doing. You're informing them on something and opens up their eyes, and you're making them look like a hero.
Yeah. Well, that's often how I've pitched it as well. Is, look, that's what we want, especially when we're speaking to the CFO or the controller. Look, we want to make you look good to your boss at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And even in one scenario where they said, look, this cost saving is just like insane, astronomical. We just can't admit to this. My response was, well, I mean, we could always just give you a little bit of a saving. I mean, that's great for us, obviously, because we won't give you the full benefit, but we'll give you a little bit of a saving. And then like 6-8 months time, you can go to your boss and say, you know what, I went back to those bastards at Green Shoots FX because I felt like we could get some more. And of course I'm going to give it to you because it's in the budget anyway. So you can be like a double hero. Like you don't have to take the, but thankfully, you know, there are a number of finance people that we meet that are like, wow, we just didn't know this, you know, we didn't know this was out there. And like, yeah, it's not stupidity, it's just ignorance. Like you don't, like if nobody's told you or come
most
to
of the
you,
time
then
you just don't know what
yourself.
you don't know until
100%.
somebody tells you.
100%.
You don't. Hey, Mark, got a quick question for you.
Yes,
real short. When you go out to your customers and you do your analysis and everything, what's the percentage? What's the percentage, average percentage that you save for people?
If you're so I want to be careful here as well, because I don't want to come across as a bank basher, and the reason why I don't is because we support regional and community banks. So because there are many regional community banks that can't get good currency pricing from their partners, and their partners are usually the big global institutions. That's where they're typically getting their currency price from.
Mm-hmm.
And those big institutions often come in at a ridiculously wide margin to the smaller institution and say, look, take it or leave it in most cases. And then the institution, the small regional bank, wants to mark up as well, right? So I want to be careful with it. So we support them. But more often than not, if you're using a bank, and you're doing foreign exchange through them, usually it's about 1.5% of the total dollar value that you currently send out. That's number one. So if you're sending out 100,000 bucks of euro, then you'll probably get that for like 98.5 grand through us, as an example. And then if you're paying global vendors in US dollars and not in their currency, usually that's between 5 and 7%, and we've seen it as high as 10% as well.
Wow, that's pretty good.
And that's largely because the global vendor is using a really crappy foreign exchange rate, which they'll take from like Google or from their local bank or whatever, whenever they, decide to create that theoretical US dollar value for the US buyer. But then they'll add another like 4 to 7% on top of that to manage the currency risk that they have. Because you pay them US dollars, they don't want dollars. They're going to convert that into their local currency, but they don't know what that rate's going to be, and they don't want to compromise their margins. So they'll jack that price up. So by asking for a quote, like if you're buying from Germany and you're paying in US dollars, just say like it's a 20-second extra step, which is, hey, I want to buy that pallet of widgets again. Thanks, usual. Quote me in my usual dollars. By the way, what would that cost me in euro? And then you'll get two prices. And I think that's the other thing. That often finance people like shy away from is they're like, well, if I ask for a quote in euro, surely I'm committed to paying in euro. No, you're not. You're the buyer. You have all, you're holding all the cards for number one. Right. But more often than not, you'll get two prices, one in dollars and one in their currency, and pay whichever's the cheaper. And more often than not, it's going to be the currency value by about 5%.
Wow. Well, you know what? And that's one of the reasons why I brought you into one of my clients is that, look, guys, Mark does a great job. I'll just pick him up there. Bingo. If he can make you look good, just imagine, the introduction of Mark and Green Shoots FX to your customer, and he goes in there and he saves them X amount of money, right? That makes you look like a hero for bringing in a person that's his niche that you may not have identified or even thought of, but you did as a service provider, and you bring him in, you walk away, and next thing you know, they're saying, wow, that guy was really, really good. That's what it's all about. Partnering with the right people, not just Mark, but it could be someone that you're not, experienced in, but you don't want to lose the business. So you will go and you look for that specific person in that niche, and you make a relationship, and you bring him into the mix, and you help service the customer. That's what it's all about, guys.
I appreciate
He's good. He's good. He's really good.
I appreciate you saying that, mate. And definitely, so when we're talking to the prospect, naturally we've got, we want to bend over backwards for them anyway.
Right.
But always every time is if that prospect's been referred to us, like in case in point yesterday, Jeff, like, when you made that introduction, as we're going through the motions with that client, always and every time I'm like, how is this going to affect Jeff? Like how is this going to affect him negatively if I say or do the wrong thing? Like, so, and ultimately what I want to have is, and you've just kind of really stolen my thunder a little bit there, I suppose, in that, I want them to, after we finish the transaction, even if we identify that, you know what, they don't want to come across to us, for at least to have them pick up the phone to you and say, that was a great conversation. I learned a lot. I now understand I had risk that I couldn't see before, but I'm going to manage it and I'm going to do it through my bank. It's a bit cheeky, but I'm going to do it through my bank anyway. But at least, Jeff, you really understand the true value of what a holistic relationship looks like. I want to cement my business with you forever, because your counterparts, your competitors, they're just one lane individuals. Right. And so, in my business, there are thousands of companies like mine. And so what makes us different? Well, we don't just talk about currency exchange or global money movement, right? We're like, okay, so we just solve for your problem of buying goods and raw materials from Germany. How are you getting those raw materials into the US? Like, what kind of customs brokers are you using? What freight forwarders are you using? Like, do you have a customs compliance expert? So we've taken like the last couple of years to find these little kind of like pockets of individuals and teams that we can then refer business to, as well, knowing that we're going to be made to look like the heroes. And just as an FYI, like, I have to say this, like, we never, ever, 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 ever take referral fees, ever, from anyone that we pass business to. And the reason we don't is because we don't want to ever be accused of putting business in a particular direction for the biggest payout. We're doing that because we think that's the right solution for the client. And I had somebody say to me once, well, this customs broker you've put me onto, are they the best? I'm like, look, I've got to be honest with you. I think there's about 400,000 customs brokers on the planet. I just haven't had time to interview them all, but they're going to keep you out of prison. And I think that's what you're really looking for. So,
you know something, Mark? I got to chime in here. What's really good about this as well is that when you're dealing with the big bank conglomerates out there, right? You as a customer become a number. That's all you are. You are a number. You don't have that personalized person that you're dealing with. That's your go-to person. You could make a phone call to one of these big guys out there and they just pass you down the line. You go here and here. But when they reach out to someone like yourself, they know that they're dealing with the individual that was introduced, that's managing their account, and that has that personal touch, which is missing in this industry a lot. Because when you're a big logistics provider and everything, if you don't have that CSRs and you don't have a large amount of people and you have 100 clients, it's very difficult to give them the support that they really need. So that's why we talked about it. Dan talked about it some time ago, about the ability to say no to some of these customers out there that aren't giving you the profits or the margins that you need. You have to walk away and concentrate and focus in on the ones that, are very meaningful and that you can put your heart and soul into it.
I like that. But I will say this: we have a number of clients who are not profitable for us, and we're fine with that because they're not a time suck, number one. So they're not taking me away from anything else.
Good. That's good.
And they're not profitable. Like, when I say not profitable, I mean, like, literally I either just about break even, or we just about break even, or we might even lose a couple of bucks, which I'm absolutely fine with, because one of the reasons why we started the business in the first place is to support anybody. I don't care if you've got $1,000 that you convert into euros, or you got $50 million that you convert into Chinese yuan. Like, it's all the same to us. But to a bank, they're 50 million. Yeah, I'll take that all day long. Like, the smaller clients that we have, they just can't get. In many cases, they can't even get like any kind of currency payments from their provider, like, from their bank partner. And again, like, even the bigger banks, I can't blame them, because I've worked for 7 banks on 2 continents, and I've only ever worked for what we call the GSIBs, like the globally systemically
big ones.
important banks, like the Wells Fargo's, the JP Morgans.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been there, and I've managed decent sized teams. I've managed sales guys. I've been a sales guy. And you're not encouraged really. And again, this is not even I'm not even blaming the management of these big organizations to a large degree, right? But you're not encouraged to go to your clients and say, I really like you. I'm going to give you a fee cut, right? Because you've got 50 million shareholders that all want their cut. So the banks are working for the shareholders like every single day.
Yep.
And if a large, I won't name them, but like if you took one of the top 4 banks in the States and said, and they said, look, we're going to halve our foreign exchange margin to all of our customers, like that still wouldn't really move the needle too much for the client,
right.
But that's a massive hole. You could be talking like 750 to $1 billion, 750 million to $1 billion of lost income that you've got to replace as an organization.
Right.
So it just can't happen. So that's why we came in to doing what we're doing. We're from the inside, we know how it works. And that's why we started what we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. And like Maggie says, Mark is the man. I agree.
Thanks, Maggie.
Debatable.
Mark, you are the man. And guys, seriously,
It is.
Anybody watching, like Lisa mentioned, she is right. It really is. And Dan's talked about it. We've talked about it a few times having Mark on. We love having Mark on. Amazing guy like Mark, like Maggie said. But it is incredible value add if you can just get that information or the right information to them and let him take it from there. So find out if they're even just doing the basics, or reach out to Mark and find out what basic questions you could ask just to find out if there's even an opportunity there. But yeah, I think thinking outside of the box, adding those other avenues, especially the value you get when you can hand your client, your customer, your top clients over to somebody else who you trust, who you like, trust, know, to add something, and they can tell that it's not directly benefiting you. You have a customer for life if you just think that way and use your network in those ideas. And then obviously Mark's going to love you too. So everybody's happy. And that's really what it's about. It's got to be a win-win for everybody. So I do have to wrap up. I do have to wrap up right at 9:30. I do have an appointment this morning, so that I can't be late to. But I don't know where Jeff went. Let me see if he disappeared, if we lost him, or here we go.
Here he comes.
Hey, Mark, real quick. You have my address, right?
Your home address?
Yeah. Just make sure you send that check for this big, huge push on your company.
Oh, by the way, we do pay referral.
There's no value to it. He does it all for goodness.
Love you, pal.
Love
you, pal.
Again. I will tell you, so some wins and lessons that I got real quick. So obviously a huge win this week was being honored to join and do Thursday night show with Chris Horton. Going to be fun, just talking about business, entrepreneurship, and just kind of that stuff.
I'll be there.
I'm really crazy about. So we want to hear people's journey. So if there are any business owners who have really been in the trenches, maybe they're in the trenches now and they want to tell their story and maybe just talk about what's next. That's really what we're trying to do. But besides that, I was watching a video this morning, and this is how I kind of want to wrap it up. Dan talked about love yesterday. We've been really focusing on love this week. Mark, you and your family. I was watching a video that I hadn't watched for a little while from Kobe Bryant. It was an interview he did, a huge Kobe Bryant fan. And he described, and I've never heard this question asked from an interviewer, and I think that's what made me save the video to begin with. But he asked Kobe in one of his questions, I think it's the second question in the video, but he asked him, what is love, or what does love feel like? And I'm like, wow, that's a crazy question to ask. But his answer was even more unbelievable. And Kobe basically said he describes love as a beautiful journey. It has its ups and downs, whether it's in marriage or career. Things are never perfect, but through love, you continue to persevere and move through them. And through that storm is a beautiful sun emerges. And inevitably, another storm comes. And guess what? You ride that through and you just keep riding through. And love is the way he describes it, the way he explains it is what we all need to understand about love. Love is a certain determination and persistence that to go through the good times and the bad with somebody or something that you truly love. And you can only have that persistence, that determination, that push to go through the good and the bad if you truly are loving that thing. And when he said that, it was like, wow. Love, guys. Love conquers all. It will. It always will. Whenever in doubt, you need it.
Try it out.
Try it out. Try it out, please. But again, so to wrap this up, I do have to cut this short. Bodacious Cowboy, Mark, thank you guys so much for joining me today.
Thanks,
and joining us weekly.
Have a great weekend.
Wins and lessons, guys, Monday through Friday, Sales Chatter Live. Start your day right with us. 9 a.m. till 9:30. Just get in the right mindset. Build your network. Join us. Got questions, reach out to any of us. We're willing to help.
Absolutely.
Everybody in our audience, especially Lisa. Lisa, shout out. Thank you for the kind words constantly and for all the support. And you too, Jeff. It's been amazing. This journey has been amazing. And we're just beginning, right? Like Kirby said, love is a beautiful journey, y'all. Quote to take us out is from Zig. It's not what happens to you that determines how far you will go in life. It is how you handle what happens to you.
Yes, sir. Have a great weekend, guys.
Have a great weekend. We'll see y'all next week. Go be legendary.
In trucking, our motto is people before profit. Today's market requires more transparency, consistency, and focus on what our clients need to win. Centurion Trucking and American Logistics are poised to help their clients achieve and surpass their targets. If you're looking for a team that honors your needs, dreams, and aspirations, then get a hold of Daman at American Logistics or Centurion Trucking and start